What's up, humans, and welcome to a new Psicoactivo. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Happy Varginha UFO Case Day, I guess, because today James Fox was finally able to present the case to the American public in a more broader sense. He arranged a major press conference with everybody invited at the National Press Club, and very similar to what happened with Dr. Stephen Greer and his presentations. I believe that James Fox has done a couple of those too in there, but that's about as far as it gets with the Stephen Greer comparisons, because James Fox was able to put together a well-rounded panel of people, both from the Brazilian side and from the American side. I was very curious to see who from the American side was going to be there, because there were already folks speculating that probably Lou Elizondo was going to be part of that. He wasn't. James Fox had, on the American side, he had participation from former Senate staffer Kirk McConnell, Miss Karen Austin, who manages the Archives of the Impossible with Professor Jeffrey Kripal. She was sort of like a co-host of the event. She ran the Q&A session after the presentation. And then on the Brazilian side, they had Carlos de Souza, Dr. Italo Venturelli, and the other doctor that did the autopsy. All of them presented really compelling testimonies, and they spoke about the alleged crash, which I already told you that was going to be disputed. I do have to talk to you guys about that right now, but I do want to thank James Fox, because at the beginning, it sort of seemed like there were some issues with the sound. And these issues with the sound came from News Nation, not from the event itself. But the event itself went out pretty smoothly, in my opinion. And before you guys ask, there was no physical evidence presented. The autopsy report, as far as I'm concerned, that's already been known to be out there. I believe that Leslie Kane was the one who had possession of that for a while now, but it wasn't known to the public. And that was presented weeks ago on Chris Ramsey's show, Area 52. But that was already something that people knew existed, right? So what about this other account from Rony Vernet? Well, Rony made a really smart decision, in my opinion. He changed the documentary's release from January 20th to January 31st. And he revealed the trailer, which I'm going to show you guys right now. This speaks of the alleged rituals that went on in Virginia by elites and billionaires who allegedly summoned these beings. That's what he's claiming. He's also saying that the alleged craft was not a craft. As far as the couple that is reporting that they saw a craft, he has an explanation that it was like a sort of phenomenon of gas that is really weird explanation. But this is the trailer that I'm going to show you guys, just so you can check it out. And then we're going to talk about one of the main American side witnesses that I haven't mentioned to you guys, who made a call for people who may have been involved in the case back in the day to come forward. And he talks about a paper trail that must exist of a craft that landed in Virginia and then came back to the US with some cargo. So first, let me show you the trailer right here of Rony Vernet's film.
Aquele ombro marronzinho, você entende?
Cor me chocou mais, né? Por ser marrom.
Coração de boi.
Coração por causa das veias, né?
Regalado, vermelho.
Aquele olhar assim, vermelho.
Os olhos vermelhos.
Existe alguma semelhança?
Não, essa boca. Os olhos em forma de gota.
As explicações absurdas do exército só reforçaram a hipótese de que essas criaturas foram capturadas.
Havia no hospital de Varginha um casal de anões.
Um foi morto e o outro foi levado vivo.
Tava que altura mais ou menos?
É 1 metro mais ou menos.
Que altura que tava mesmo, Vivo?
5 metros de altura.
É a cinza.
Cor da fumaça clara cobrindo ele. Não deu pra avistar a cor.
O fenômeno flutuando, formado de pura névoa densa, virou um charuto metálico caindo, com fumaça atrás.
Uma das pontas estava aparentemente explodida, soltando muita fumaça.
Assombrado, todo mundo fala. E um bicho muito feio.
Na hora que ele entrou nos eucaliptos, uma criatura.
Naquela época, o exército estava vasculhando os rios da região.
Ponto da água, entrava dentro do açude, sumia e pegava o ribeirão.
A senhora trabalhava na delegacia de polícia?
Quase 4 anos numa cela, com um olho muito grande, um olho redondo.
Era peluda com olhos vermelhos e um cheiro muito ruim.
Eles mexiam com o bicho lá, eles davam uma sopa assim, subia até com eles. Assim. Esse corpo bombeiro, 3 corações, é o que tem, tudo quanto é lá dentro.
Consumi algum tipo de entidade escravizada.
Aí quando eu fui lá, desci, fui lá no porão, eu vi ele com
Um gnomo. Dentro de uma garrafinha.
Tinha um demônio, uma garrafa.
uma garrafa. E ele com uma criatura.
O bichinho tava dentro do vidro aí. O olho dele sempre brilhava. E tinha o tom avermelhado.
Yep. So January 31st. And clearly, Ronnie is not shying away from the demons idea. I would like to redirect you to more detailed explanation of this that was posted on Steve Mera's channel with demonologist Nathaniel Gillis. Shout out to both of them. They have a more detailed explanation of what this is in English, but I think that Ronnie is going to talk about this in detail too, but it's going to be in Portuguese. So I'm going to link in the description for that. I do want to talk about this man right here. His name is United States Air Force Colonel Fred Claussen. He basically talks about these bodies that were transported from Varginha in Brazil to the USA. During today's National Press Club event with James Fox, he confirmed that the United States Air Force flight to Varginha, Brazil, to retrieve these bodies actually happened. He is actually pleading for the 30 to 40 insiders with knowledge, 30 to 40, to come forward for full disclosure. So, if this happens, it could very well change everything. But let me play you the clip where he talks about this in more detail. So, again, this is United States Air Force Colonel Fred Claussen.
And he's like, oh, I'm actually a retired United States Air Force colonel, and I'm also a fighter pilot. And I had a pretty dramatic UFO encounter back in 1980, which coincidentally was covered up. And okay, that explains it. So he eventually came forward to share publicly his UFO encounter. But today he's here to talk about something I feel is extremely significant, and that is this potential flight that came in from the United States of America in January of 1996. So without further ado, Colonel Claussen, thank you so much for being here today. Here we go.
By the way, this is obviously the News Nation stream. I'm going to obviously link it in the description. It was very well done. Kudos to Megan and to Ross for the coverage.
My name is Fred Claussen. I'm a retired U.S. Air Force bird colonel and fighter pilot. I have more than 4,000 hours of flying time in the F-15, the F-4, and I flew combat missions in the F-105 during the Vietnam conflict. I was awarded the Distinguished Flying Cross twice and held a top secret SCI clearance. While flying the F-15, I intercepted a UFO. I took gun camera film, which was immediately confiscated. but that's another story for another time. Today, I am speaking on another matter, a matter that requires world attention. According to several Brazilian authorities, including air traffic controller Marcos Freires, on or about the 20th of January, 1996, a U.S. Air Force cargo plane, most likely a C-17, took off from a base in the U.S. and it flew secretly into Brazilian airspace without flight clearance from Brazilian government, and it landed at Viracopos Airport in Campinas. While at Campinas, witnesses talked of it loading an unusual cargo, then departing to an unknown location in the United States. If true, I am certain that 30 to 40 Americans had direct knowledge of this flight and its purpose. I will now walk you through a potential paper trail this mission could have left behind. In order to secure a cargo plane, a specific protocol must be adhered to. The tasking would be sent to Air Mobility Command at Scott Air Force Base, Illinois, who has command authority over all U.S. Air Force cargo aircraft and refueling tankers. A paper trail has begun. Air Mobility Command transmits a mission order to the Air Mobility Wing at Charleston Air Force Base, South Carolina. Another paper trail. At Charleston, a crew is selected for the mission and a C-17 cargo aircraft is made ready. The distance from Charleston to Campinas, Brazil is roughly 4,500 miles. The unrefueled range of a C-17 is about 2,500 miles. Therefore, air refueling by KC-135 would be required. More people in the know and another paper trail. An international flight plan to Brazil is required even if the mission is classified. Paper trail. On board the C-17 is a minimum crew of a pilot, co-pilot, and loadmaster. But due to the nature of the mission, probably more. Maybe CIA and a general officer. The C-17 lands at Campinas and must be refueled. Who pays for the fuel? And where's the receipt? Before departing Campinas, another international flight plan must be filed. Again, more paper trail. The C-17 flies back to the United States with tanker support and lands at an undisclosed location. As you can see from this possible scenario, I estimate that at least 30 to 40 Americans have direct knowledge of this mission. So here's my plea today. If you were a participant and have knowledge of the mission, come forward. You are probably retired now, in your 70s, maybe a little older like me, and have languished for 30 years with this knowledge. Come forward. We know this mission happened, and you know it too. Come forward. The time is now. Thank you.
Wow. What a stand-up guy Fred Claussen is. That's extraordinary. And he's absolutely right. There will be witnesses.
Thank you, Colonel. Thank you, Colonel. It was because of Colonel Claussen that we actually, our team filed a FOIA request. And that FOIA request is in the latest cut of the film, New Revelations, Moment of Contact, New Revelations. And interestingly enough, we filed it in 2022. We got a response back 3 years later. And it was from the CIA. It was like essentially, you know, because of the 1949 National Security Act, blah, 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 your request is denied. We can neither confirm nor, you know.
That FOIA request part of the story is wild. They flatly just denied to deliver any flight logs, any information, and the response came directly from the CIA. So that was pretty wild to hear. I do have information that we are looking into, a couple of friends and I. One of them is Navy, and we're looking into a radar operator who is now deceased, but his family is still around. And this person was a radar operator during that time, and he was a radar operator for 2 or 3 different planes. And one of those is that plane. So we're looking into that right now. That's just one. But this man said that at least between 30 and 40 people were aware of that flight. And this was a call to action from him. So kudos. And this also is sort of like a response to what Rony Vernet is reporting, that from this side, and James himself are convinced that there was a craft that crashed in Virginia, and that this plane did take both the craft and the biologics back to the US. So we just have to wait a little bit, see if anybody comes forward. But this was an incredible testimony from the colonel. And kudos to him for coming forward and for being brave. Again, I want to thank James Fox for this one. And I'm going to leave it at that for you guys to digest on this one. What do you guys think about the new date of Rony Vernet's documentary? The overall press conference, if you saw it, I'm going to leave a link in the description. I know that Martin Willis from Podcast UFO did a wonderful stream. Ty Roberts from the Total Disclosure podcast did a wonderful stream. I know that my buddy Anthony Sadar, he reported on site for Somewhere in the Skies with Ryan Sprague. And there were a lot of people there. My friend Will Gallison was there as well. They're currently obviously mingling over there with all the people involved, but it was a great conference. And even though there was no physical evidence, I think that a lot of what was presented is evidence, anecdotal evidence, and some even call outs that I am going to talk about in subsequent videos. But for now, let me know what you thought about the overall stream. What do you think about this response to Rony Vernet's potential report that is coming out on January 31st? And let me know what you think about that Steve Mera and Nathaniel Gillis video of the demon angle of these creatures in Virginia. What do you think about them? I mean, it is kind of weird that they have red eyes and these things in the head, right? I haven't seen or hadn't seen any other reports other than probably the chupacabra of gray beings with red eyes and these things in the head. So that makes the Virginia creatures quite unique, like this. So let me know what you think. I'll be reading. If you like the content you see, I'm going to ask you to like, share, hype, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. That's all you need to do in order to help us, and it is what helps us the most, so thank you. But if you want to support us in other ways, there's a few links down there you can choose from. You can also become a member on YouTube. You can also become a member on Patreon. We have merch on Patreon. After 3 months, depending on the tier, you get an item sent to you. Or you can also help us through KGRA. I would also love it if you could help me with a review on Spotify, because that will help us get into your algorithm in the US, because I live in Mexico and the algorithm catches me in Mexico. But if you guys give me a review and you engage from your side of the border, that is going to help tremendously. Thank you. That's it for me today on this video, but I'll see you guys in the next one. Remember, stay curious and inquisitive like United States Air Force Colonel Fred Claussen. Always. Bye.